The Marlins take on the Mets game one. And that's going to be a 4:10 p.m. Eastern first pitch in game one of the doubleheader. New York's minus 165, totals 5.5. Marcus Stroman for the Mets, Trevor Rogers for Miami. Despite a pretty rough day on BrockPage.com yesterday, we're still 8-3 in our last 11 Major League Baseball tier package picks on that website. And the good news is we have another Major League Baseball tier package pick going off here this evening. We're also 7-1 in our last 8 $1.99 daily best plays. And if you want to access today's $1.99 daily best play, it's only going to cost you just $1.99. We currently have over 825 members who are signed up and active on that page. And if you want to see which one of these free picks on this video that I'm actually betting on personally, there's only one way to do that, and that's to sign up for a membership on my website. And once again, that's BrockPage.com. Trevor Rogers has a 2.67 ERA for Miami, 151 strikeouts, and a 1.17 whip. Miami's in the top 10 in fewest walks allowed on the road. They're taking on a New York team who failed to cash in on the run line in 8 out of their last 10. Now, they're also just 1-4 against the number in their last 5 at Citi Field. This Mets lineup is dead last in the big leagues in home scoring. They also have Marcus Stroman on the bump here today, who comes into this ball game with a 9-13 record. Now, total-wise, New York's 21-13 to the under in their divisional home games. Meanwhile, the Fish on the other side, they've gone 18-15 to the under against the NL East on the road. I'm going to lean toward Miami plus 1.5 and the under 5.5 in game one. Next contest, Cubs, Pirates, 6:35 Eastern Standard Time. Both teams are minus $1.10, totals 8.5. Alec Mills for Chicago, Mitch Keller for Pittsburgh. Keller's just 5-11 with a 5.96 ERA and a 1.75 whip. The last place Pirates are dead last in the majors in scoring. They're taking on a Chicago club who averaged 5.4 runs a game in their last 10 meetings with Pittsburgh. They're also averaging nearly double-digit hits per contest in their last 10 meetings with the Pirates as well. Alec Mills takes the mound here for Chicago. 6 wins on the year along with 82 strikeouts. When it comes to the number in this one, Chicago went 9-1 to the over in their last 10 outings. They're also 4-0 to the over in their last 4 on the road. Meanwhile, the Pirates went 60% to the over in their last 10 themselves. I'm going to lean toward the Chicago Cubs minus $1.10 and the over 8.5. Next ball game, Red Sox, Orioles, 7:05 Eastern start time. The Boston Red Sox are minus 260, totals 9.5. Chris Sale for Boston, Bruce Zimmerman for Baltimore. Now Zimmerman's got a 4.83 ERA and a 1.47 whip. The last place Orioles are tied for the worst record in Major League Baseball. They also give up more runs per contest than any other team in the majors. They're taking on a Red Sox club who's amongst the league leaders in hits on average per game. Rafael Devers has 35 home runs and 108 RBI. Meanwhile, pitcher Chris Sale is a perfect 5-0 on the year with a 2.57 ERA. Now, total-wise, Boston saw their last 2 straight road games get over the line. They also went 60% to the over in their last 10 outings at any location. Meanwhile, Baltimore is 22-13 to the over against the AL East at Camden Yards. I'm going to lean toward the Boston Red Sox minus 1.5 and the over 9.5. Next contest, Yankees, Blue Jays, 7:07 Eastern first pitch. Toronto's minus 130, numbers 9.5. Hyunjin Ryu for the Blue Jays, Jameson Taillon for New York. Taillon comes into today's ball game with a 4.41 ERA. The Yankees have a losing record in divisional play, and despite their recent success, they're still in the bottom 10 in hits on average per game offensively. They're taking on a Toronto team who's on a 2-game winning streak themselves, and they simply pound the baseball. Vlad Guerrero is leading the league with 46 home runs. The slugger is also third in the majors with a 1.005 OPS. This Blue Jays lineup is in the top 3 in the league in scoring on average per game. They also have Hyunjin Ryu on the mound, 13-9 with 133 strikeouts. Now, total-wise, 8 out of Toronto's last 10 ball games fell under the line. Meanwhile, 3 out of New York's last 4 road games stayed under the number themselves. I'm going to lean toward the Toronto Blue Jays minus 130 and the under 9.5. Next contest, Phillies, Braves, 7:20 Eastern Standard Time. Atlanta's minus $1.25, total 7.5. Charlie Morton for Atlanta, Zach Wheeler for Philadelphia. And as good as Wheeler's been, the Phillies play their worst baseball on the road. They're taking on a first-place Braves club who's on a 3-game winning streak, and they also won 7 out of their last 8. This Atlanta pitching staff is in the top 10 in fewest hits allowed per contest. Charlie Morton's also 13-6 with a 3.53 ERA and a 1.07 WHIP. The righties struck out 203 batters. This Braves pitching staff is also in the top 10 in fewest runs allowed per game. When it comes to the total in this one, Atlanta's 20-12 to the over in their divisional home games. Meanwhile, Philadelphia's gone 41-34 to the over when traveling. I'm going to lean toward the Atlanta Braves minus $1.25 and the over 7.5. Next contest, Tigers, Twins, 7:40 p.m. Eastern start time. This game's currently off the board. No confirmed starter for Minnesota. Tyler Anderson for Detroit. The Tigers have won 5 out of their last 8 ball games, 60% against the number in their last 10. They're taking on a last-place Minnesota squad who's 18 games below 500, and they've given up a lot of runs for most part of the season. A lot of runs pretty much every game. The Twins are currently in the bottom 5 in runs allowed per contest. I'm going to lean toward the Detroit Tigers, winning this one outright for some money line cash. Next ball game, Brewers, Cards, 7:45 Eastern first pitch. The Milwaukee Brewers are minus 120, total 7 flat. Brandon Woodruff for Milwaukee, Adam Wainwright for St. Louis. Wainwright 16-7 with a 3.05 ERA and a 1.04 WHIP. The righties also struck out 170 batters. The Red Hot Cardinals have won their last 16 straight, and they hold their opponents to just 3.9 runs a game at Busch Stadium. They're taking on a Brewers club who dropped 5 out of their last 8 themselves, and they also rank in the bottom 10 in hits on average per game. And as good as Brandon Woodruff's been on the mound here, he still comes into this ball game with a 9-10 record. Double-digit losses here for Woodruff. Now, total-wise, Milwaukee's 42-33 to the under when they bat first. Meanwhile, St. Louis is 46-29 to the under on their home field. I'm going to lean toward the St. Louis Cardinals plus $1 and the under 7. Next contest, Angels, Rangers, 8:05 Eastern Standard Time. The LA Angels are minus 120, totals 9. Packy Naughton for Los Angeles, AJ Alexy for Texas. Alexy's 2-1 on the season through just 18 innings of work. The Rangers have won 2 out of their last 3 ball games, and offensively, they're in the top 10 in fewest home strikeouts at the plate. Adolis Garcia's hit 30 home runs and knocked in 86. They're taking on an Angels club who lost 8 out of their last 10, and they also rank in the bottom 10 in road hits allowed. In addition to that, Packy Naughton's 0-3 for Los Angeles, 5.23 ERA and a 1.65 WHIP. When it comes to the total in this one, LA's 19-13 to the under in their divisional road games. Meanwhile, Texas went 60% to the under in their last 10 themselves. I'm going to lean toward the Texas Rangers plus $1 in the under 9. Next ball game, Rays versus the Astros, 8:10 p.m. East. Houston's minus 130, totals 9. Jose Urquidy for the Stros, Michael Wacha for Tampa Bay. Now, Wacha's got 113 strikeouts on the season. He's averaging just about a strikeout an inning. The first-place Rays are on a 4-game winning streak, and they also lead the majors in road scoring. Brandon Lowe's hit 34 home runs and drove in 88. Meanwhile, Austin Meadows is 8th in the league with 103 RBI. They're taking on a Houston club who's on a 4-game losing streak, and they scored just 8 total runs in those 4 losses. The Astros pitching staff's also in the bottom 10 in walks allowed per game. When it comes to the total in this one, Houston saw 2 out of their last 3 at Minute Maid Park get over the line. They also went 60% to the over in their last 10 ball games at any location. Meanwhile, Tampa Bay's 24-11 to the over in their divisional road games. Give me the Tampa Bay Rays plus 1.5 and the over 9 runs. Next ball game, Reds, White Sox, 8:10 p.m. East. The Chicago White Sox are minus 180, totals 9. Ronaldo Lopez for Chicago. Riley O'Brien for Cincinnati. O'Brien's making his debut with Cincinnati here today. The Reds are playing just .500 baseball on the road, and their pitching staff walks more batters per 9 than any other team in the Bigs. Cincinnati's taking on a first-place Chicago club who's won 49 ball games at home, and they also rank the top 5 in hits. Tim Anderson's batting .302, which is 12th in the Bigs. Meanwhile, Jose Abreu's second in the majors with 113 RBI. Now, the White Sox also have Ronaldo Lopez on the mound here today. He's got a .316 ERA and a .95 whip. When it comes to the total in this one, the White Sox went 60% to the under in their last 10. Meanwhile, Cincinnati went 60% to the under in their last 10 themselves. I'm going to lean toward the Chicago White Sox minus $1.80 and the under 9. Next contest, Indians-Royals, 8:10 p.m. East. The Kansas City Royals are minus 120, totals 9. Brady Singer for Kansas City. Aaron Savali for Cleveland. Now, Savali's 11-5 on the year, .390 ERA and a 1.15 whip. The Indians have won 4 out of their last 7. And their pitching staff's in the top 10 in striking batters out on the road. They're taking on a Royals team who lost 3 out of their last 5 themselves. And they also have a losing record at Kauffman Stadium, as Kansas City lineup's dead last in the majors in offensive walks at the plate. Brady Singer's 5-10 thus far in the year, .472 ERA and a 1.53 whip. When it comes to the total in this one, Cleveland's 20-16 to the over in their divisional road games. They're also 42-32 to the over in all of their road games for the entire season. I'm going to lean toward the Cleveland Indians plus $1 in the over 9. Next ball game, Nationals Rockies, 8:40 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The Colorado Rockies are minus 135, totals 11.5. Kyle Freeland for Colorado, Patrick Corbin for Washington. Now Corbin's just 1 win shy of double-digit victories on the year. He struck out 134 batters. The Nationals have won 4 out of their last 7 ball games, and they rank in the top 3 in road hits. Juan Soto is second in the majors with a .321 batting average. He's also second in the Bigs with a 1.02, a 1.020 OPS. Now they're taking on a Rockies club who lost their last 5 straight, 1-7 straight up in their last 8. This Colorado pitching staff's in the bottom 3 in striking batters out at home. They also have Kyle Freeland on the mound, who's just 6-8 with a .450 ERA. Now the lefty's also got himself a 1.41 whip. And when it comes to the total in this one, the Nationals have seen 6 out of their last 8 road games get over the total. I'm going to lean toward the Washington Nationals plus 1.5 and the over 11.5 runs. Next contest, D-backs Giants, 9:45 East. The San Francisco Giants are minus 270, totals 8. Logan Webb for the Giants, Luke Weaver for Arizona. Now Weaver's just 3-6 with a .438 ERA. The last place D-backs are tied for the worst record in the majors. They also give up more runs on the road than any other team in the Bigs. They're taking on a first-place Giants club who's on a 3-game winning streak. And they also got the W in 7 out of their last 9. The Giants pitching staff leads the majors in fewest walks allowed. And they're giving up just 3.7 runs a game. Logan Webb's 10-3 with a .304 ERA and a 1.11 whip. The righties also struck out 144 batters. Now, total-wise, San Francisco's 19-13 to the over in their divisional contest at Oracle Park. Meanwhile, the D-backs went 60% to the over in their last 10 outings themselves. I'm going to lean toward the San Francisco Giants minus 1.5 and the over 8. Next ball game, A's Mariners, 10:10 p.m. East. The Oakland A's are minus $1.25, numbers 8. Chris Bassett for Oakland, Tyler Anderson for Seattle. Anderson's got a 3.38 ERA and a 1.16 WHIP. The Mariners have won 8 out of their last 9 ball games, and they're in the top 5 in fewest home walks allowed. They're taking on an Oakland squad who lost 5 out of their last 8 themselves, and they also rank in the bottom 10 in road hits. I'm going to lean toward the Seattle Mariners plus 105 and the over 8 runs. But that, guys, now it's time for our next and final matchup. It is going to be Padres versus the Dodgers, 10:10 p.m. Eastern start time. The LA Dodgers are minus 190, totals 8. Walker Buehler for Los Angeles, Yu Darvish for San Diego. Darvish is just 8-10 with a 4.21 ERA. The Padres are on a 3-game losing streak, and they also dropped 8 out of their last 9. San Diego also has a losing record overall for the season, and they're winning just 43% of their road games. Now they're taking on a Dodgers club who officially has triple-digit victories on the season, 100 wins for Los Angeles. This Dodger pitching staff also allows fewer runs per 9 than any other team in baseball. They also lead the Bigs in fewest hits allowed per game. Now Walker Buehler's 14-4, 2.58 ERA, 0.98 WHIP. The righties also fanned 196 batters. When it comes to the total in this one, LA went 60% to the over in their last 10 meetings with San Diego. Meanwhile, the Padres went 70% to the over in their last 10 themselves. I'm going to lean toward the LA Dodgers minus 1.5. And the over 8 runs. Of that, guys, now it's time for our quick pick recap. Powered to you by my website at brockpage.com, where we are 7-1 in our last 8 $1.99 daily best plays on that site. I like Miami plus 1.5, under 5.5 in game 1 of the doubleheader. I also like the Chicago Cubs minus $1.10 and the over 8.5 runs. Give me Boston plus 1.5, over 9.5. Toronto minus $1.30, under 9.5. Atlanta Braves minus $1.25, over 7.5. I also like the Detroit Tigers winning that one outright for some money line cash. Give me the St. Louis Cardinals plus $1, under 7 runs. I also like Texas plus $1, under 9. Tampa Bay plus 1.5, over 9 runs. Chicago White Sox minus $1.80, under 9. I'm also leaning toward Cleveland plus $1, over 9 runs. Washington plus 1.5, over 11.5. San Francisco minus 1.5, over 8. Seattle plus 105, over 8 runs. And before I give you my next and final free pick for the video, one final reminder that we are 7-1 in our last 8 $1.99 daily best plays on brockpage.com. Give me the LA Dodgers minus 1.5. And the over 8 runs. Of that, guys, now it's time for our shout-out of the day. And that's going to go to my man, Devrin Hunt, who said the other day, incredible video, Brock. Thank you very much. All right, guys, that's going to do it for me. Don't forget to check me out on brockpage.com. Now, if you guys do end up getting a membership here today on that website, just keep in mind, you're going to get billed the day you sign up and then the first of every month following that. So if you do end up getting a membership here today, you're going to get access to that content through the end of September. And then if you continue to opt in, you're going to get billed again on October 1st. So we're kind of at the end of the month. You may want to hold off until October 1st. I always tell folks the earlier in the month you sign up, the better. But most importantly, guys, got to thank you for joining me right here on YouTube. I really hope you enjoyed all this great free content, all this great free information. With that said, guys, happy Tuesday to you. Best of luck to you. And I look forward to seeing you later on today on my website at brockpage.com.